Hi, I'm Liz Cully, and welcome back to Cool, Cool, Cool. Each week, I give you a glimpse into what I think is cool and chat with a ton of people that are definitely cool. No topic is off bounds unless I guess it's not cool. Welcome to Cool, Cool, Cool. I feel like all of us boomer millennial podcasters are mystified by TikTok and the rise of internet fame from some of their biggest users. I used to have a show on ByteDance, I will say, which is the parent company of TikTok years ago, just before the app launched. And it was really interesting to be sort of like on the inside track to it all, and get a firsthand look at how a platform can really reward its biggest users and make them a star. I find myself falling into deep TikTok holes when I open up the app, which is quite frankly why I don't really go on there. I'm becoming exhausted by social media. Once something I love to do to keep like a memory log of photos, it's now becoming exhaustive and it's not really that fun anymore. And I'm also incredibly addicted to it. So here we are. All that aside, you know from previous episodes, I love a good meme queen, and I love folks that can translate subversive and everyday humor into quick videos that make me chuckle. I love funny videos. Rachel and I lull ourselves to sleep by watching people set themselves on fire, falling down stairs after sleet and snow, and who doesn't love it when kids do funny shit? Oh, and don't get me started on like animal videos. I love it all. First TikToker that I talked to today is Arthur Garros. Not only is Arthur like one of the most stunning people I've ever seen in my life, like cherubic stunning, but he's like smart funny, which I mean, what a combo. They say don't meet your heroes, but so far this is going quite well, I have to say.
I'm honored.
I mean, also, don't think I didn't see your post yesterday where you were trying to make your voice raspy for a podcast. And I was like, I think that's about me. It's so funny.
It totally was about you.
Oh my God, I'm dead. I made it to the main feed. It's so interesting. I fall deeply in love. Oh my God, yes. And you're drinking wine. Yes.
It's literally 5 p.m.
Perfect.
So,
I mean, it's 5 p.m. It's time. 4 and 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I meet my internet love obsessions, I get very nervous because sometimes it just doesn't translate. And that's when having interviewed celebrities, musicians, internet personalities for as long as I have, which makes me sound 100 years old, which I am, you like don't know what you're getting. And that's why I joke, like, don't meet your heroes, because it just goes poorly, like 90% of the time. But you are more stunning in real life and sweeter than I ever could have imagined. And so I'm really excited about this.
Oh, well, we're only a minute in, so watch your words.
Yeah, fair enough. So, I'm always fascinated by people who can create like memes or short bit content that really is not only funny and obviously like hits on the cultural zeitgeist. Like during COVID, obviously people were making fucking hysterical memes, or I always come back and I don't know if you remember it. Do you remember when Tristan Thompson first cheated on Khloe Kardashian and the internet like piled on, and it was all like, Tristan Thompson, like, I hope you order salads for the rest of your life with no dressing. Or like Tristan Thompson, my favorite one was, I hope every time you go to the grocery store, somebody like nicks your ankles behind you with like a shopping cart. Like it was.
Yeah.
It was, it was just like so stupid and so great. And that doesn't always, it takes a pandemic or Tristan Thompson being a complete asshole for kind of, I think, those larger moments, but you have an ability, and why I love your content so much, to be really evergreen with it. And it's so layered and smart and hits on cultural, like kind of, again, evergreen cultural zeitgeist, but then just like goes another layer. How do you come up with these ideas? I mean, the series of like, who am I to judge? It's so like the fucking VW bug with the eyelashes. And
Yeah.
like, how do you come up? Like, tell me everything. How does it work in your mind?
How does it work in my mind? Well, first of all, I'm mentally ill.
Great,
That
join the
has
club.
yeah, that has a large part. No, I mean, there's a cocktail, I think, of things, and it's like definitely has to do with personal experiences and just like a million things happening in my head all at the same time. A lot of influenced by pop culture, or yeah, I'll just go off of something that happened, or I don't know. And then the Who Am I to Judge was definitely inspired by Rosalia, of course, with her iconic gum chewing. And that was kind of going around TikTok. And I guess it's about like kind of joining onto a trend and adding your own flavor, or just literally having a thought and being like, this could really, I could develop this into a TikTok or a concept or something.
It's truly because it doesn't ever need to end. And it just go like the heart necklace with the diamond, like everything is just so funny and perfect. I think it's spot on. It's really spot on. And I follow you on Instagram. Everybody knows TikTok. Like I literally, I'm a performative boomer on TikTok. Like I don't like to go on the app because all of a sudden I've been on the app for 50 minutes and I just frankly don't have the time for it.
Yeah,
Two,
it's scary.
My algorithm, it's scary. My algorithm is strange because it's like my friends that I follow, but then it's like lesbian TikTok. But like I think TikTok knows that I'm like a very bougie lesbian. So like none of that shit I can relate to really on TikTok for the most part because it's all like edgy, cool lesbians. And I'm kind of like a rich mom, old lesbian, even though I'm not a mom. But like it just doesn't like gel. And so I think TikTok's like, we don't understand like what your humor is and what's happening. And then I made the mistake of going on this one girl who literally covers her whole face in makeup and contours her. I went on it one time and now it's just like never ending. So TikTok is tough. But do you start your content on TikTok and then put it on Instagram, or do you make completely separate content for both platforms?
I used to. So it all stemmed from TikTok for me.
Okay.
For this journey. But then now I create off of the app and then bring it into the app. It also depends if it's like a trend or there's a certain filter that's within TikTok that is part of the trend or the video, whatever, then I'll make it in TikTok. So I guess it kind of depends, but it definitely stemmed from TikTok. And then I would just post everything on Instagram.
Yeah, which is smart without the watermark, I suppose, because they love
Without
to
the
ding
watermark.
us.
Yes.
Christ.
God, I learned that the hard way as well. And now there's like Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, like everything. So there's just a lot of cross posting going on. But the community that's on TikTok was the one that inspired me to start, and that I found kind of this just amazing community that was free, a lot more free and more themselves and intelligent and deep, I guess. So that was the spark.
Do you find we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier because you posted a video recently where you posted another kind of series where you started, talking about like a broken person becomes a life coach or whatever. I'm totally fucking up and paraphrasing it, but it was true. It hit hard in a family of where we have a therapist here, life coaches. While I respect you and appreciate you, you are mumbo jumbo and full of shit. So you posted a video that I loved. How do you handle when you do sort of controversial, but in my opinion, incredibly truthful videos? Do you see a difference in commentary from Instagram versus TikTok? Like, is one platform more critical, you find, or less critical? Or what's that like?
TikTok feels more free and open-minded. And then Reels feels a little bit more like Facebook-y, if that makes sense. Like it's starting to be more Facebook-y. If there was a spectrum, it would be like TikTok, Reels, and then Facebook.
Yeah,
I don't
Facebook
know.
feels the only thing I use Facebook now is for Facebook Marketplace because as a homeowner, that's all I do. And I also use it for I just started doing these like weird fake lashes. We're really going there today.
Oh, lash extensions.
Yeah, but they're not lash extensions. They're like like you can take them off yourself. They're brilliant. I had them on yesterday and I was going to keep them on for you today, but I kind of like went wild and I really looked like a Muppet stripper. So I had to remove them. I was like,
that sounds amazing.
No, they're really cool. And there's like a whole like Facebook community for these lashes and it's insane and it's completely taken over my algorithm. But yeah, my experience on TikTok in the comments is it's like, I've been trolled a little bit. I think that's just like wherever, any platform. But it definitely, I think Instagram for me feels, I don't want to say polished, but it definitely feels more guarded. I think people are like more guarded about the whole thing. When we first started talking, before we started to record, you were telling me your family's from France and that, you grew up in the States. Do you feel like, I don't want to lead the witness. Do you feel like having non-American parents also kind of informed your sensibility in regards to these Who Am I to Judge videos? Like, is it also sort of a sub-commentary on like American culture?
I think, you know what? I've never thought about it that way, but that's a really good point. I think that if anything, having a French background and French family kind of gives me a different cultural perspective. And so maybe I was able to take a bit of a step back into certain elements of culture, that I could more easily kind of pinpoint and, areas of that are judgeable, I guess.
It just like made sense to me when you were like, my family's I was like, oh yeah.
But I hope it's not like cliche, like, because the French, don't get me wrong, but they have this, the cliche like French person is like so proud and full of themselves. So
no,
I'm also very aware of that.
Full of themselves. So this, I saved it for when we were recording, but I lived for half of a year in Perpignan. Which is so fucking random. It's like for the listeners, it's at the base of the Pyrenees Mountains on your way to Spain, basically. It's like 15 or an hour into Spain, but you're like in France. And it's an interesting culture there. It's like in the summer, it's a lot of British, expat like coming to travel. It's not like the French Riviera. It's cool. I mean, it was random as shit. But I think spending that, and I was in Paris for a lot of it, but mostly I was down south. And it was interesting to really entrench myself in French culture. I was dating a French guy. He was from Chantilly. I met his parents. They were like, what the fuck? I was like, yep, here we are. But it was interesting to be around, a culture for a considerable amount of time. And I think, yes, there's this kind of perception that French people, I would actually narrow it down to Parisians. I think that's more fair. Like Parisians are stuck up and that they, whatever. Which, by the way, yes, don't go walking through the streets of Paris yelling on your cell phone or as an American or
of course,
like eating in public or like being ridiculous. Like nobody wants that. Nobody's into that. Don't eat on the train. Like nobody's doing that shit. But I think there is this very funny, it's so hard to articulate, like French way of life that actually I think impacts your videos more than you. Now that I have that perspective, I'm like, oh my God, that's so like, yes, of course you're French. Also, you're like so handsome. Of course you're like, of course you are. But have you ever thought about doing any of your videos like, do you think that they work? I'm like, how do I say this? Like, because I do think there is this kind of like American kind of culture view on what you joke about in these videos. Do you think that it translates to Europe or would you tweak it? Like if somebody gave you the brief, like do a Who Am I to Judge for Paris, would it be quite different?
It would probably be different. Yes. Cause a lot of things that are on there are Americanized for sure. Like that heart necklace that's like from K Jewelers or whatever, like Zales or whatever, we all know
my God,
that.
Zales, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
So yeah, I mean that I don't think that would translate. There would probably be like an equivalent in France. Yeah. But it's funny that you say that because right before we got on, I was recording something that you'll see, but it's like kind of like a blend of English and French, which I'm constantly kind of trying to do in a way because I find it interesting and it's also very me, the blend. So yeah.
I can't wait. So before TikTok and Instagram, I see a very fancy microphone. I feel like you've been a performer for a long time. Is that true?
I have been online for a long time.
Oh, you've
Yeah.
been online. So but did you do like school theater or were you singing growing up, like anything like that? Or has it really been kind of like online performing for you?
Yeah, no, I always sang growing up. I always loved music and singing, and I was in choirs and I played like various instruments and stuff. So it was always music for me. Always, always, always music. If there's one thing I never doubted, it was that, and that I loved it, and I just wanted to be like totally immersed in it. So yeah, so it was choirs growing up and singing and then I started my first YouTube channel, and this was like back in 2007, 2008 or something.
Oh, that's a long time. What were you, 5 years old? Like, what were you doing? Oh, unboxing toys on YouTube?
No, I was 12. I was in
Okay.
seventh grade and I
Which is the
started
same.
because
Seventh grade, I was like smoking my grandmother's Capri
what?
Light cigarettes. Yeah, I grew up in the city. I grew up in San Francisco. I'm like a bad kid. I'm a
I mean,
bad kid with
to
a
be
good heart.
fair, yeah, yeah, yeah. I act shocked, but yeah, but I think I was pretty much in the
Like,
same
I'll put
boat.
this into perspective. I went to acting school at the Royal Theatre in England, in Cambridge, when
Mm,
I was between the summers of eighth and ninth grade. And
okay.
I got my belly button pierced. I went to the Leaping Leprechaun, which is a psychotic, like like straight dance club that no longer exists. I like drank I mean, I was a monster. It was like that movie 13, if you ever saw that, with Nikki Reed
No,
and Evan Rachel Wood.
no,
That was
no.
me.
The
That was
the only
me.
one I remember that was like British was Wild or British American Wild Child. Do you remember that one?
No, but that sounds very much like what I was. But
Okay,
yes, I
yeah.
wish had I started YouTube, nothing existed when I was in seventh grade. But had that been what I had been up to, perhaps I would be as successful as you. But I did not. I was fucking a psychopath running around San Francisco with a Kate Spade bag and, Gucci sunglasses that I had bought from babysitting and a North Face parka, just fucking smoking cigs. That's what I was up
Okay,
to.
iconic though. Like, come
I
on. Like, we need those character development moments.
mean, I'm just telling you, they are
Like,
there. They are there. They're
yeah,
there. You can
I
even,
love that.
yeah, I made a whole reel. Like because we've just been like moving stuff around, but I have so many pictures from that time. Because again, we didn't have like I didn't have anything digitized. So I have books
Yeah.
and books of pictures. So I made a funny reel. Actually, speaking of which, TikTok I tried to do a hashtag F like for your page or whatever. And
Oh
because I'm
yeah.
smoking cigarettes in said video,
Yeah.
they like wouldn't do it. Like they wouldn't let me do the hashtag. And then Instagram, I think said I couldn't monetize against it. So there you go. Just saying,
Yeah.
it's good. Kids shouldn't be smoking.
As soon as you vape or you smoke on TikTok, you get banned or shadow banned or I don't even know. Like,
First of all,
there's
vaping is disgusting, but that's fine.
yeah.
That's rather here nor there. Okay, so seventh grade, there you are. Little, like, just the sweetie little baby angel that you are. And you start a
Yeah.
YouTube channel. What is the YouTube channel about?
The YouTube channel is me singing covers. So I always knew that I wanted to make music. I wanted to have a music career. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to sing. I wanted to tour the world. I still do. Um, and I don't have like, I'm not a Nepo baby. Like, I don't have my family doesn't have any connections. Like, my parents are like, they had no idea like where to even start with that kind of, dream. There's no one I could have like been introduced to or whatnot.
And
And
where
so
were
I
you
was kind of
growing up
like,
at this time? Where in the
I was
States
growing
were
up in
you?
Connecticut, so East Coast.
Okay. too far from. You could have gone into the city, but yes.
I know, but yeah, I was very underinformed of like, what do I even do? Right. Like, I didn't know how anything worked, but I was like, I think I need to get a record deal. And so,
Yeah.
and so I was like, how do I get a record deal? And it was right around the time where everyone was posting like me singing da 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 da. And it was like the title of every cover. And it was like, it was the era of Justin Bieber. It was Esme Denters at the time. A lot of people were starting to get traction, you know, by like just singing covers online. And so I was like, that's what I need to do. Like I need to get some recognition. So I remember I put in my bio, like looking for a record deal, like something like that. And I just sang songs. I had like karaoke versions that I would find online, and I would just
Like,
sing
what songs
songs.
were you singing?
The first song I sang was No One by Alicia Keys. And
Okay.
And
I wasn't expecting that. Okay, what else?
I mean, yeah, it was, when I look back on it, it's so cringe now. Like, yeah.
Obviously, I will be Googling these videos immediately.
They're privated. You can't find them. I don't think.
Don't do that. Come
there
on.
There have been some re-uploads, so you might find like some random pieces of this puzzle. But yeah. And then I started learning guitar in guitar class. And then I started playing guitar and singing and writing my own songs.
So like,
what are
your songs like? Like, what kind of songs do you like? Give me I am a record dealer. I'm dealing the records on the street. Just kidding.
You're dealing the records.
I'm dealing the records. I'm a record dealer.
Yeah.
What would it be like? How would you describe yourself? If, you know, like for instance, when I was acting, they'd be like, oh, she's like a Chelsea Handler mixed with an Emma Stone.
Oh God. You know what? Those are my least favorite part of creating something.
I know, but they make you do it.
It always has to be something else. It's like, it always has to, like, people really, and this is just a broader, like, not just music or not just what, it's like people really need things dumbed down. It's crazy. Like, from a consumer perspective, it's like, I don't get it unless it's like but this. Like, I've always found that very,
don't go into a TV or a movie pitch, my friend. Because that's all it is. They'll be like, it's like Hunger Games meets Love Island mixed with Salt Lake City Housewives season 2. And you're like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? It's like the fucking most ridiculous. That's literally what happens. It's like, you know, your log line. That was the worst. I hated that. They like would make us.
What's log line?
So when I, was acting and stuff, they're like, what's your log line? Like, who are you? And that's what I'm saying. It was like Emma Stone mixed with Chelsea Handler. I think, oh no, hold on. I think it's going to get really cringy. I think it was Emma Stone meets Chelsea Handler with a hint of, I can't fucking remember. I don't know. A fucking Chubby Olsen twin. Whatever it was like so insane. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't. This is just terrible. So I'm actually asking you for the cringe. Like, if I were to listen to you on Sirius XM radio, what station would your music be on? Ooh, maybe
right now, today? Are we talking about today?
Yeah.
The music I'm making now?
Yes, today.
Oh, okay. So it would, oh gosh. It trickles down to pop music, I would say.
Okay.
It's influenced, you know, I have very many inspirations and kind of influences that I draw from. I love like Elton John, and my dad played Dido growing up in the car.
Dido growing up in the car. How old is your dad? Young.
He's like 50 something.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
He said Dido. Dido is not like a fucking, Dido is like the graduation song. It's not like, Dido did a song with Eminem. Like, Dido is not an old, like, Elton John is one thing, but when you think about like your parents playing music in the car, like I was not expecting you to throw out Dido. I'm like, what? Like, maybe, you know, I'm dead. I mean, listen, it's your experience. It's really fucking amazing. It's just making me really question, you know, I'm coming up on 38. I'm having my 38th birthday this summer. I'm
Oh my God, love it.
feeling mature.
Cancer?
Yeah, Cancer.
Love Cancers.
What are you?
Pisces.
Yeah, my wife's a Pisces, the best.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah.
Oh, happy belated birthday then.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're like, I just turned 21 and I'm like, let me go drink cyanide. But yeah, no, Dido. Wow, that makes me feel weird feelings. Okay, so Dido and Elton John. Yes, I can see it.
But that was kind of like that's kind of what I grew up listening. But I don't know if you would listen to one of my songs and be like, Dido, like, I don't know.
Would you dance like in a music? So the pop music thing is tough for me. So I sang too for a long, long time. But I would give you my log line is this. It was like Bonnie Raitt meets Fleetwood Mac meets Brandy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to get one of those.
Yeah, we're gonna get you one of those.
I need to get one of those.
We'll DM. We'll get you one of those.
But yeah.
Like dancing was not my thing. And I remember my band, and I had like a full band. So there was no like dancing, but I always felt so uncomfortable at some moments on stage, especially if someone took a solo or like whatever. I'm like, what the fuck am I like doing up here? And I'm not going to pull like a Stevie Nicks, like I'm high on cocaine and Jack Daniels and like rip around. So I would just kind of stand there awkwardly. But pop music, I love pop music, obviously, but I would be so intimidated about the dancing. Like, remember like making the band and all that? Like they'd have to like learn how to dance. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, dude, I can only do one thing. So do you dance too?
I can dance. Like,
would you dance on stage? Or is it more like,
if I had, you know what? I want the stage to be like a whole like world and like an experience. So I think, yes, if it was like with, kind of a concept and like, when I'm going to say that.
When. Let's like put that into the future.
I'm constantly correcting myself, because you gotta
manifest.
You gotta help the universe out a bit. So yeah, with the proper arrangement, yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, I'm into that. What is Instagram and TikTok missing in content? What would you like to see more of outside of me? But what would you like to see more of?
What would I like to see more of? I would like to see less.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. I like it. I would like where this is going.
You're like, oh, positive? No, negative. So I would like to see less of meme pages, like stealing content and making like massive followings off of like a collection of everyone else's content that they a lot of times don't credit, and then they make a lot of profit off of stolen content, essentially. I don't know if you've noticed, but it happens.
Oh my God,
are
you mad at me that I reposted your reel now? But I credited you. No. I also believe my caption was either I'm in love with you. Hold on, let's see what I wrote.
It's not you. It's not.
I wrote, let's see. Repost. Arthur is my favorite creator on IG. I said it. So there you go.
No. It's not that. And it's like a specific kind of thing where like you can tell that all they do is repost memes and they're trying to grow a following. A lot of times they'll get like 1 million followers and make a lot of good money.
It's very annoying.
And
I'm like shadow banned on fucking Instagram. I just got verified the day before everybody could pay for it, which is a true metaphor for my entire existence, because now everybody just thinks I paid for it, which is totally fine. But I'm like, wow. It's like when I got finally 10,000 followers and like, I kid you not, 3 days later, it's like, don't worry about it. Everyone can put a link in. And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Like,
It just shows
shadow banned on the internet. It's true. I don't know what I've done. I've done something wrong. There's somebody that works at Meta that does not fuck with me. And it's so funny because I know my story with Instagram goes very long. I knew the original founders in San Francisco. Like, it's a funny, weird thing. I know. You know what my original handle was Liz.
I was just going to say, you should have had it at Liz then.
No, I did. And what
happened?
Well,
no, you changed it. No, you didn't.
I did. I changed it. So Instagram was actually called Bourbon. I'm going to blow your mind right now, just to go on this journey with me.
All right. I'm strapped
and everybody can go fact check this to the fucking extreme if you'd like. So it was called Bourbon, and it was originally a meetup app. It was like, it was a blend of, oh my God, now I'm going to forget the name of that app. But it was in San Francisco. It was this guy named Kevin, which obviously the founder of Instagram. He was friends with my friend Pepper. His name is Richard, but he always goes by Pepper. And I can't remember how they knew each other, but Bourbon, you would share a photo on the app. It was like for happy hour meetups. So like to find out where people were going to go for the night, you would like send a picture and it would be like where you would go. It was kind of based around drinking and it like and like cocktail hour and whatever.
Okay.
So my friend Pepper, who goes by Richard, was at Richard, which by the way, he had up until like a year ago and somebody stole it from him and they like shut down his whole account and it became a whole fucking thing and it was awful for him. They like basically just shut off his account for no reason. I was at Liz.
Yeah.
Like we all had these accounts and then it turned into Instagram. And at the time I had a blog called Listen to Liz. And I was like, oh no, I think this is like I mean, listen, part of me was smart in the sense that I really branded, like I have listentoliz.com. I have Listen to Liz on Twitter. I have like all of it. But yeah, I'm a ding ding and I changed it. But they would have stolen that they would have taken it away from me later on.
Yeah.
So, but can you believe it? Yeah, I was at Liz. So anyway,
that's insane.
I don't know what happened, but somebody's mad at me at Instagram. It's fine. It's whatever.
Isn't it crazy? Like the chokehold that these like virtual things that we're part of has on our like mental and our like mental state. It's just.
I've been talking
crazy.
about it a lot. I've been talking about how I was so angry with Instagram for not verifying me for so long for a multitude of reasons, mainly because I kept getting fake accounts being me. And I was like, this is so fucking annoying. But also because I've worked hard at being in the industry for a long time and I've had plenty of I'm like, I was on the fucking cover of the New York Times plus E-Entertainment. Like, what is wrong with you? You know what I mean? And I just found it to be like really ridiculous. But then the fact that it happened right after everybody could buy it and therefore that credential, so to speak, really truly means abso-fucking-lutely nothing now. That's when I was like, wow, I really need to evaluate the deeper meaning of why I care about this so much. I talked to a friend of mine who's amazing, who's on my show a few weeks ago, and she and I like really dove into like the similarities between internet community culture and like childhood trauma. We really go across the board on this show. Let me tell you.
I love it. I love it. All right,
so
that's a can of worms.
Yeah, fuck all the meme accounts. I agree. Though
but let me give you something positive.
Okay,
then.
let's hear it.
What do I want to see more of?
Yeah, what do you want to see more of?
I want to see more. Oh, there's so much I want to see more of. I don't know. I never really open Instagram and I'm like, this is missing. I want to see more. I want to see. Oh, wait, no, that's another negative thing.
That's fine. Let's keep it negative. That's
no.
People know I'm pretty negative myself.
No, I'm not negative though, but somehow it always comes out that anyway. So I want to see more unedited photos.
Oh, well, you ain't gonna see that from me, honey. Let me tell you. You are not going. I mean, actually, on my Instagram story, it's like me looking ridiculous. I mean, the problem with me is that I like borderline do drag when I go to events. I mean, I love it.
Oh my God,
like
love that.
Favorite thing. I mean, my makeup artist, Madi, she is a dear, dear friend. And she just fucking beats this face to the gods. And it's the best.
I love it.
So I really have two modes. But yeah, you're not going to see, there will be edited. I think
it stems from me thinking, okay, how can Instagram be more like TikTok, which I think has been kind of their MO for a while. But there's this cliche of like, you know, Instagram has a bit more of this like shallow kind of fake appearance type of thing.
Sure.
And that's where that kind of angle is pinpointed at or rooted in. Yeah, I think
you
like
also
it would be really
resemble a Disney prince. I mean, you are a stunning human being. So I'm going to take you saying you want unedited videos with a grain of fucking salt because my next campaign for you is even though I think Emily in Paris is quite honestly the most cringe show I tried. My wife likes it. I like the fashion, but I just find her to be like really off brand for me. But I think you should be the next Emily in Paris.
Oh my God, I would love that. I would love that. But you know,
I'm gonna put that
yeah,
out
when
into the world for you.
we're putting it out. We're putting it out. I can see that. I can see that.
You
Little
would be
side
great on
character,
that. You
little
would be
side
great
gig.
on that show.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Why not?
I'm just saying.
Why
I'm gonna
not?
put that out there for you.
And it would be a little bit more authentic than like the Americanized. The version of Paris that they paint is like, you know, insane.
It's completely insane. I'm also
It's-
like,
yeah.
where is all the real parts of Paris? I mean, I love
Yeah.
Paris. Paris to me is one of my, if I could speak French at all, which I cannot, I can say a few things, but I really can't. I really, really can't.
I'm sure
If-
you can.
And I really can't. But if I could speak French, I would. My sister speaks fluent French. She lived in Paris. Like, I was so jealous. She like went to a year of college there. But if I could speak French, I probably would move to Paris in a heartbeat. I love it. I fucking love it. I love the way of life. I love everything. I love walking everywhere. When I go, I always like, I really love it. It's the best. I love the food. I love being like looked at with judgment. I love, you know, yeah. I really do. But it doesn't show, you're right. And there's also such a cool, like, young subculture of Paris that no one really shows, I think, unless you
There is,
follow.
yeah.
Like, and, you know, it's everybody thinks it's like so fashion show. I mean, it is, but there's like a grittier, really cool and very diverse, like tons of like young folks from like Bangkok. And like, I don't know. I just like, I follow a couple of, I knew this girl who was a nail artist. I think she does tattoo. I don't know if she does nails anymore, but she is married and has a child with this fucking gorgeous guy from Bangkok. And like, he runs this underground party. And like, that's the kind of shit that I would fuck with. I would be like on cocaine, living in Paris and chain smoking cigarettes. And
Love that for you.
Just like living in the Marais and like being gay. That is what I would be doing.
Yeah.
And I would love every godforsaken fucking minute of it. Meanwhile, I live in Glendale. Which is like so funny. Which is so funny. But like, yeah. Anyway, I just really
who
lived out my
knows? Who knows
fantasy.
what's in the cards, you know?
No, my wife is a licensed therapist in the state of California, and I have golden handcuffed myself to the entertainment industry. I will live here probably for a long time. But that's all.
Okay.
But you're like, well, and see, it's okay to be negative on this show. Who is your favorite creator on the internet?
Oh my God. That's really hard.
Okay, give me like a couple that I need to go follow.
A couple of my favorite creators. Oh, that's so hard. You know what? I've always hated the favorite question. Favorite song, favorite movie.
All right.
No, I'm not trying to make things difficult.
It's kind of a cop out.
I'm not trying to make things difficult.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you what you want. I need to like speak my piece before, you know?
Okay, fine, fair enough.
So like, just don't take what I say as like a final concrete favorite, because
it's just in the moment.
I don't know.
It's just in the moment.
It like changes day to day, you know?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Who do I think? Who do I love? Oh, Bailey J Mills.
On TikTok,
on Instagram.
This is also a selfish ask because I just love funny people. And so I'm like, give it to me. Bailey J Mills.
Yes.
Okay.
They are iconic.
Love it.
There's nothing else to say. It's niche. It's genius. It's original.
Okay.
It's British.
Perfect.
And it's iconic. And they're iconic.
Coming from you, I'm going to take that.
You know what? I'm really happy with that response. I was stressed out, as you could tell. I was starting to deflect and like defend, but actually I'm happy with that. Bailey J Mills.
Bailey, I'm happy with that too. While I like to be prepared for my interviews, I do sort of love the concept of like dating the people that I interview and finding out all about them at the same time that you guys are. I love that Arthur can sing, and obviously I looked up all of his videos and I'm impressed. I didn't think that was going to be his voice, so you guys should go on a deep dive and try to find his singing videos as well. Next up is another TikTok queen who also makes subtle yet deeply funny videos, and I love her approach to comedy. Rachel is a huge fan of hers and actually was the one to introduce me to Laura. And what I love most is that, like, I found out some pretty insane life stories from her in this interview, which rival mine, which doesn't typically happen ever. My wife and I went on a huge deep dive trying to, like, figure out who you are, what you're about, what you do, where you came from, like, what's going on here. And our theory was this: that you worked at NASA at some point or in science. Is that true?
I did not work for NASA, but I worked for a space center that was partially funded by NASA. Yes.
Look at us. We are sleuths.
Yeah. No, y'all are great. Yeah. That's good detective work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, she's really into space.
Yes.
I'm like, I think she microdoses mushrooms. You don't need to confirm or deny that. And then I'm like, I don't know what else. Though, are you from New York? Like, you have to give me something. Like, give it to me. Like, tell us everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, I'm from Atlanta. So I grew up in the South.
The ATL.
Yeah. I am from.
Have you been to Magic City?
What is Magic City?
Oh,
wait.
Girl.
What is it?
One of the most famous strip clubs in the world.
Oh,
Atlanta.
Oh, I'm terrible. I should know that.
It's where songs make it or they don't.
Okay, I should know that. I've been to Pink Pony and the Claremont Lounge.
Okay.
Well, so I lived in Atlanta. I grew up in Atlanta, but then I went to college elsewhere in Georgia, to the University of Georgia. So I was never an adult in Atlanta. Actually, that's not true because I just lived in Atlanta for the past 2 years. I did New York. My life, it doesn't make any sense. That's why you're confused about it, because I'm confused about it.
Okay.
So I went from Atlanta to college, which was also in Georgia, and then to Boston, and then to New York, then back to Atlanta, and now to LA. So, it's all been kind of random. I started making content really because I felt like nothing else had worked out. And I was like, maybe this one thing, like, I could actually do,
But it is working out. You're so funny.
Yes. Oh, thank you. But I started because, so I did UCB, and then, it was a shit show. And then, so to go back to the Space Center,
please go back to the Space Center.
Yeah. While I was doing UCB, I got this job at the Space Center, and it was funny because they actually were looking for people who were actors and had improv experience, because it's a center in New York and it's super hidden. Nobody knows about it because it's only open to schools. And we take kids on simulated space missions on field trips. But it was all science teachers who I worked with, and they had been interviewing other science teachers, and they were like, we need someone who can really commit to the role of being a space commander. And so I went and I interviewed, because someone had actually posted it in a comedy group on Facebook, and I walk in and it's like, it's located within a school, but so you wouldn't know it's there, but it's all these converted classrooms, and there's a mission control, there's a space station simulation, like there's all these briefing rooms, like there's a Mars room being built right now. I'm still very close with the people I worked with. I just went to a wedding in New York, like with one of my space commanders. But so they were looking for people.
Who gets to be an alien?
We did actually do that sometimes. We would have one of us dress up and walk into the room, and the kids thought it was funny. But yeah, they wanted someone who would commit really hard. And when they hired me, I was like, there's been a mistake. I don't know anything about space. I thought I did, but I didn't. And I was in way over my head. I didn't know much. And I was taking these kids from all over New York on these space missions. And the thing that I knew how to do was to act just nuts. Like I was just like really committed to it. And sometimes I scared them a little because we would have these, like they would have to do all this math and figure things out. And sometimes they would determine, like for instance, there's a micrometeor shower coming, and they'd let me know, like, Commander Laura, we're getting hit by meteoroids. And I'd be like, oh my God, are you serious? And then I'd go over and there's like a smoke alarm, or no, a smoke machine and an alarm. And I would sneakily push those buttons, and like there'd be smoke everywhere and the alarm would go off.
This sounds like the best job.
It was really intense. Yeah. And I'd be like, get down. And even though in space you wouldn't really be able to get down like that, so it didn't actually make sense. But I would just like start army crawling through the smoke. And most of the kids found it. They loved it. They loved doing those. It was super fun. But I think a few times I committed a little too hard, and the kids were like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, wow, I did that job for 3 years.
I did not see this coming. I was convinced that you're like, yep, I actually like went to school for physics. I don't know what you would go to school for to become an astronaut. And I'm super like profesh, and like this is what I do. And I just make content for funsies on the internet.
Yeah. No, that
you
would
could commit to that role. Actually.
Yeah, that would be cooler probably. But no, I was a fake astronaut. And I remember I once had a kid ask me, they would ask me all the time because I wore a spacesuit every day of my life for 3 years. This was my job. And so they would ask me, are you a real astronaut? Have you really been to space? And one time in the beginning, I said, I'm an actor. And the way this kid's face fell, made me, I was like, oh, I'm never going to answer the question.
I mean, honestly, when I ask people what they do for work and they tell me they're an actor, my face falls.
Yeah, no, it's a terrible answer.
Kidding.
Actors are pretty insufferable.
Correct.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Wow. Yeah. I love that. I mean, and then I saw, because again, I like these like story times that you do.
Okay,
with us,
you.
And I'm going to say us as your fans. Like your 9/11 story is insane. If you guys, I will reshare or I will make everybody watch that at some point. Or, you've got these great tales that you tell. But one of them that I really identified with because I am from Marin County.
Okay, cool.
And you tell a story about how your friend was having had some sort of surgery, and you went to Northern Marin.
Yeah.
Yes. Where were you? And you were in Humboldt?
Petaluma.
Yeah, Petaluma. Girl, I gotta, if you listen to my episode with Tiffany Faison, we talk about our fucking tickets that we got in Santa Rosa. And I think it was on the border of Petaluma and Santa Rosa. But you went, just tell the story because it's a good story. What happened in Petaluma?
So this was in 2014. Yeah. So I decided to move to LA. I was living in Boston at the time, and I was like, I'm going to go to LA, be an actor and comedian. But I had some friends in Northern California. So I was like, I'll stay with them for a bit, and then I'll go down to LA. So I flew into San Francisco, and I had these two friends from high school who had moved out there to work for this THC infused ice cream company. So yeah, they were making weed ice cream, and it was 2014. So this is,
almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was almost 10 years ago. It was before
cannabis industry was different then.
It was very different then. Yeah. So, and my friend from high school, I had planned to go out there, and I was going to see San Francisco, and we were going to have all this fun, and then right before my trip, she calls me. She's like, oh, by the way, I have to have knee surgery when you're here. And could you take me to my surgery? And I was kind of like, what the fuck, Kay? But I was like, yeah, sure. And she was like, it's not going to be a big deal. Like it'll just be a little surgery, and we can take my painkillers and get fucked up. And, so I fly out there, and I take her to surgery next day, and it's a huge deal.
Didn't the next day. You a couple of days?
No. And also this was I thought I was going to San Francisco. I didn't realize, like, no, I'm going to Petaluma, like
Which is not San Francisco.
not
Like
San Francisco.
Petaluma,
Yeah.
for the listeners who don't know, I mean, feel free to Google, but it's like about 45 minutes if you're lucky with no traffic from
Yeah.
like the Golden Gate Bridge. So
Yeah.
not even downtown, like not even in San Francisco. It's really, yeah. There's a racetrack though.
Oh, that's cool.
You
I
didn't
wish I'd
see
seen
it?
that. I mean, I was fucked up the whole time I was there because they had all these weed products. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself.
So
But
your
it was
friend
good
gets the
to know
surgery
this.
the next
My
day you're
friend,
there.
I take her to the surgery the next day, and it's a huge deal. Like this, she had knee surgery. It's not just some little surgery, like she can't walk, she's in a wheelchair. And then she couldn't go to work. And she was working for this company that makes weed ice cream. So I was like taking care of her and like she just couldn't do anything. She couldn't get up, she couldn't go anywhere, she couldn't get on the toilet. But she's still one of my best friends. And there's kind of a part 2 to the story, which maybe I'll get to, about how she helped me with the surgery later down the line. But
As she should have.
yeah. So but yeah, I was consuming a lot of, weed chocolate, weed ice cream at that time. And then, she couldn't do her job. And that left our other friend who she was working with, alone to make all this weed ice cream by herself. And there was this festival coming up, the SoCal Cannabis Cup. So it was like crunch time, And so that's where I stepped in and I started helping them make this ice cream. And I had no idea what the hell I was doing. What was really funny is Stephanie, the one who was still working, she had actually studied food science in college. So she was really into it, and it was really cool. But yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. And I just started making, this ice cream. And then they asked me if I wanted to work at a festival, the festival that was coming up. And this festival was such a shit show. So it was in San Bernardino. And
Terrible place, by the way.
yeah. And I thought it was going to be, like a bunch of cute hippies in the desert with mountain views, like bonding over cannabis, But no, this shit was in a parking lot, like across from Target. It was super hot.
It's so hot in San Bernardino.
Yeah, and it felt like a car show. That was the vibe.
Mhm.
Because it was a lot of women like in bikinis, like handing
With
out
like
weed
pasty,
stuff.
like weed pasties on their nipples.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
And I just didn't know that was going to be the vibe. I just, that's not what I was expecting. And I was like, oh, I'm like a merch girl. Like I'm expected to kind of like, flirt with these customers and make sales. And I just had all these people who were just so fucked up. And I was fucked up too. Like there was just every weed product under the sun, and they were like, would come up to me and like eat the ice cream and just be like, I really like it, and just stare. And it was like, we were both so fucked up and it was so uncomfortable. And, and yeah. And it was just such a shit show. There was no organization to the money. Like we just had a box. There wasn't even like a thing for ones and tens and 20. Like I was like, what? Again, I've worked cash registers before. And I was like, what the hell is it? Like, we're just putting cash in a box. And then we had so there were all these different flavors of ice cream. And we were going to enter this one in a contest there. And it was called Strawberry Short Baked. And
Cute.
then we just ended up giving it all away because we were like, hey guys, cream. Because everyone's fucked up. Like it was so dysfunctional. It was the most dysfunctional
Cannabis industry. I think people don't. I've been sort of cannabis adjacent for many, many years now. And I just die laughing because even now, with all of the structure that cannabis sort of has,
Yeah.
and these big corporations, it's still such a shit show. And at the core of it, like everyone's just like hungry and giggly and not thinking straight.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
like,
Yeah, that was very much my experience. And
how long did you end up working for the weed company then?
Oh, it was only like a couple weeks. It wasn't that long. Yeah. Another thing at that festival, I'll never forget this moment because it just sent me into a whole crisis. Like I was so high. I was too high. you know? And
Mhm.
this man came up to me with a weed leaf printed thong and he was like, I'd like to see you in this. And I was just like, no, like, what the fuck? And he got all pissed and he was like, well, it wouldn't look good on you anyway. And I was like, stoned. And I'm like, oh, that kind of hurt my feelings because, because if I wasn't stoned, like, I think I would have been like, oh, fuck you. But I was like, oh my God, like this thong wouldn't look good on me, So then I went and told my friends and they were like, you maybe should have taken the thong. And then I was like, what the fuck? Why? You think I should have taken the thong? And then I felt like there was a divide between us. I was like, we see the world differently.
Completely differently.
Yeah.
Wildly differently.
But anyway, yeah, that was it was only a couple of weeks. And then I did go down to LA and I stayed with someone I knew from summer camp growing up and
always a mistake.
Yeah.
Always a mistake. Don't ever revisit the friends from summer camp. Just let them be there. I think that's a problem. I think everybody goes and they're like, ooh, my friend from summer camp. And it just never quite feels like summer camp.
Well, I would say that I could see that definitely happening. I went to the summer camp that was like pretty unique and a lot of us are still friends. And it was kind of culty.
What was it, like Interlaken?
So it was a lot of lesbians in Georgia. And it was like this little lesbian oasis.
Were you in high school?
I started there elementary through high school. Yeah, I went for 10 years. It was intense.
Was it always a lesbian? Were you like in elementary school and you're like tight, like I'm a lesbian and this is where I'm going to summer? That sounds lovely, actually.
Yeah. No, and I guess I'm saying this, kind of jokingly, but everyone at the camp jokes about how it's like a lesbian summer camp or a queer summer camp. But yeah, so when I went, because my mom had gone and it was an all girls camp and it was initially a Girl Scout camp and then it just became an all Girl Scout camp, but we did all the Girl Scout things. I think it had always been like very queer, but my mom certainly didn't know that when she sent me. And even though she had gone there, but I went and just everyone was, there was a lot of, we were young, but everyone was like touching, like cuddling with each other.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah. And then a lot of people like ended up, a lot of us are still friends and, a lot of them dated each other. And
what's your take on lesbian TikTok?
Oh, I like it. I think it's fun. There's a lot of hot people on it.
Like, is it, because it's funny, there really is this kind of lesbian TikTok world.
Right. Yeah. I think I'm definitely in it. I don't know about all the drama. Like, I say that just because I have a friend who is, she's kind of following on TikTok and she like covers lesbian drama on TikTok. Like she's like a little, like the reporter.
Wait, is it that one that was just in the New York Times?
I don't think so. I would feel bad if I didn't know about that. Her name's Kendall Payne. She's a comedian.
Yes,
she's very funny. Was she in the New York Times, Kendall?
Wait, hold on. What's her Instagram handle?
I think it's Kendall X Payne.
Wait, hold on.
I met her at UCB and Kendall, she covers like on TikTok, she gets out a whiteboard and everything and writes down.
Oh no, that's different, but I'm obsessed with her. What? She gets out a whiteboard?
Yeah, but it's very funny and like, it covers any news that's happening on lesbian TikTok.
Wow, good for her. Could you imagine?
Kendall, I should I'll say her.
No, I see.
TikTok
I see
handle.
This person.
It's Kendall
X Payne.
Yeah.
We have so many people in common. Ooh, but she's in the like Ashley Gavin. See, this is what I'm saying. There's a whole TikTok lesbian world, and I don't know how I feel about it.
What do you?
I don't know. Like, I think it's actually, no. This is actually how I feel about it. What I like about what I've learned through lesbian TikTok is that lesbians come in all shapes and sizes and fuckboy levels that like cis men come in. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Let me keep going.
Okay.
I go on lesbian TikTok and I'm like, these lesbians are like performatively being fuckboys.
Yeah,
Not all of them,
I guess
a
I see what
subset.
you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's so fascinating
Yeah,
because I'm like, oh, it's just like, you got to understand. Like, I think that lesbians, when I was growing up, this is really what I'm trying to say. Lesbians, when I was growing up, were so shoved into specific stereotypes, and they didn't even have the opportunity to have a lot of different stereotypes. They only really just had like nutty crunchy and like bull dyke.
Okay.
Like hippie lesbian, bull dyke.
Yes.
That's how
right.
people kind of categorized lesbians. But
Yeah.
now what I've seen on TikTok is that it's a million different stereotypes that they all fall into. And it's
Right.
really just more diversified. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's cool too. I've definitely learned a lot from it as well. A lot of terms.
Like fuckboy.
Oh,
'Cause
I
they
knew
are-
that one.
It's
Yeah.
just really, it's very interesting. I'm like, wow, okay. And then the thing about TikTok is then you get into the lesbian TikTok algorithm and you can't get out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But I kind of like it because I think they're hot. So.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Do I regret not diving into TikTok years ago after my ByteDance show? Yeah, sure. I could be like Hannah Berner now, have 2 million followers on TikTok, but I don't. I have like 400. And my TikToks are real weird and don't really make sense. I mean, here's the thing. My appetite for weird, funny videos is just never satiated. I can never have enough. Sometimes I get backlogged and I just sit there for an hour and catch up, but I love it. I need more. So I'll probably end up going on TikTok more than I'd like to admit in the next coming months because Instagram, it's just not giving me enough content. Do me a favor, give these two a follow. Follow me on TikTok. And you can cringe at my very cringy attempt to be funny on there. And if you want to see the full episodes or videos rather of these interviews, head on over to my Patreon and give me a little coin there. Thanks so much.